Yo, 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 what is up? It is DPS Podcast once again, episode number 86 in the house, and I am here, your host, Slow-Mo Backslap, here with the homie, Gaming Forte. Forte, say something.
Yo, what is up? Make sure I'm not muted because this isn't my show and I want to make sure that they can actually hear me.
Oh, they can hear you because I'm hosting, and when I host, everything is lawless.
Yeah, you're right. Just like this comment you made it. Just like this comment you made in the chat saying going live soon, just waiting for a certain somebody. Y'all can guess who. And this, if I'm not mistaken, the show hadn't even gotten close to starting yet, and this man is up here throwing out little slanderous remarks and stuff inside the chat.
I would never. I would absolutely never. But Forte,
you know what? I need you to turn on timestamps for this so I can see when this timestamp for this. Click that little button that says timestamp so I can see what the timestamp on that is. Because I guarantee you it was well before 9 o'clock. Guarantee it was before.
I'm not clicking nothing. I'm not clicking no timestamps, but we got a show.
Okay.
We have a show to do. Okay. Yeah, exactly. True, sir. It's 2 minutes past, sir. Exactly. We need to get to the show.
Had to update some stuff on his end, so don't let him.
I didn't have the update. I mean, like, I could have really did that on the fly, but it was,
Why didn't you do it? Though?
Because look, don't worry about that. Look, anyway, Damage Per Second Podcast, episode number 86. As you hear, this is my co-host. Acting the nagging wife right now. But we're gonna have a good show, man. I think the show's gonna be just as good as that State of Play that we had earlier. I think it's gonna be that good. Let me shout out some people in the chat. Shout out to Stardust Acero, being first in the chat with the DPS hype emote. What's up, bro? What's up, that guy? Smitty, Spider 13, Ramon in the house. My favorite Hallmark actor is in the house. What's up, bro? Vaccine, Mixie Poo, Mixie Dies a Lot, Dave Balker. Hey, what's up, Dave? How's it going, man? Truth Serum, and again, Mixie Poo. So look, hey, it's gonna be a great show. Forte, let us know what you've been up to since last week.
Yeah, a lot more Sniper Elite. That game is actually phenomenal. I played a lot of 4-player co-op. I played.
Wow. Who'd you play with? Who'd you play with? Did you play with me?
I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know you were playing it.
You didn't know I was playing the game. I've had Sniper Elite all over my Twitter timeline, but you ain't know I was playing it. Okay.
Are you serious? How often do you see me on Twitter?
You should know.
No. Like I said, all I know is Luca's been playing it, but she hasn't even been playing it with you because she's been playing it with Dealer too. Because I was playing with Dealer, Gas, and Colt, and we were running. So
what you're saying is that Dealer Gaming is stealing all of my friends to play games with. Is what you're saying?
Well, that's because we play on Xbox, sir. You're
the game has crossplay.
Okay, but we don't know what you're doing at the time.
I'm gonna need to have a word with Dealer. I guess
maybe
apparently
you need to stop appearing offline so people can know when you're playing.
Apparently, I need to have a word with Dealer. He needs to get his own friends. Is what Dealer needs to do.
Apparently, what you need to do is what he does. He sees people online and he sends people invites, or they see him online and they'll say, "Hey, you want to play this?" But you know what, Slow-Mo? We can't do that with you because not only do we have to scroll to the bottom of our friends list just to see or send you a message where you're like, "Hey, send me a party invite," and I got to scroll over 1,000 people down to get to your name. You don't ever show online. Like the fact that the fact that you wanted me to play Destiny with you or jump in Destiny with you the other day, I was sitting there like, the only reason I could jump in your game is because you're on Steam and you weren't hiding offline.
Yeah, I forgot.
So that's you forgot. So that's the problem. So, but maybe if make yourself more available to the community, and
I am available. I just don't like unsolicited invites.
Dude, you act like Slow-Mo. Listen, you talk about
just don't invite me. Look. This is very simple. When I want to play with people, invite me. When I don't want to play with people, don't like I'm offline. Don't talk to me. That's
Okay,
that's how it works.
so that's what you're telling us. You're telling us, your friends, the ones that you want to play games with, that you don't want to play with us because don't bother me because you're offline.
Basically.
Oh, so you can't have it both ways, bro. You can't. I love you, but you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't. Well, you can't. Well, no, you're absolutely right. You can have it both ways, but you can't get mad at us for playing with other people that we see online. Because guess what, Slow-Mo? Unfortunately, you're wrong for it because you just need to appear online and you'll be good.
Anyway, shout out to Snow
I guarantee
Dragon.
you probably the one person in our whole community that appears offline more than anybody. Oh no, you know what? Rand's up there too. Because I don't remember the last time I seen Rand online either.
Well, so I don't know the last time Rand played the game. You've been reading books since like the beginning of the year. Ramon, yeah, he's kind of right, Slow-Mo. Ramon, I take back what I said. You are not my favorite actor anymore. You just snatched that title right back. Shout out to Snow Dragon saying no Bugsnax footage. No, I if I could burn that Bugsnax footage from earlier this week, I could. And since we brought it up, I guess I'll talk about the stuff that I've been playing. Seems to be a little bit of everything, but I beat 3 games. Wait.
Would that put you at 11 or 10?
I'm at 11, but I actually beat Sifu a while ago. I just forgot to actually officially put it on my timeline and list it as a game I beat. I beat that. I beat Destiny's 2 Witch Queen campaign. It's okay. I think it's not as good as all the Destiny cappers want to act like it is.
Well, maybe if you wouldn't.
Can I finish? Can I finish what I'm saying?
Maybe if you
why do you have to jump in? Why do you have to jump in? I don't understand. Why do you have to do that?
Struggling there, by the way, too.
I was not struggling, sir. I was doing just fine until the end.
You were exactly struggling.
Shout out to Arodimus with a $5 super chat. How you doing, Arodimus? Hope you're having a great evening. Says everyone can relax because Gambit is here. Who's Gambit?
Oh man, that's what I'm talking about.
I don't know who Gambit. He ain't Gambit. I don't know about that. Anyway, look, appreciate you, Rodimus. Glad to see you, bro. So the campaign. Look, it's not a terrible campaign. It's a good campaign. It's just a couple of annoyances I have with that campaign. One, the tokens. You only get 1 token in certain respawn restricted areas, and you can't basically revive people multiple times. It's a little annoying. And then
that's what a respawn restricted area is, right? Go ahead,
even you admitted when we were playing it that it sucked and that Bungie stopped doing it.
No. That's the only in-game. Well, they do it in raids too. Everybody has anything that has a respawn.
No, I don't know why you explaining it. I don't care. Anyway, and then Savatoon at the end is annoying. How many it's just kill these 3 wizards, go damage her. Okay, kill these 3 wizards, go down. It's annoying. It was just a long, annoying boss fight. But otherwise, I did like the story. I did like the I did like how their use of the NPC characters in Destiny. They got everybody got a little time to shine and a little contribution to the story, so to speak. A little long in the tooth the campaign was, but I didn't mind that. It was just I thought some of the puzzle type areas were a little blah, but it's all right. It's not bad. And I also beat Remnant from the Ashes, which is the gameplay you're seeing here. Of course, this is really early in the game, but me and Luca pretty much tag teamed the game. We beat it by accident, which is actually kind of funny because we didn't even know that we were going into the final boss fight until the boss shows up and it said final boss. And I'm like, oh, how did we get? This is it. And it was actually a pretty easy fight. Remnant is a game that is difficult when you're by yourself, but when you play in co-op, the only difficult boss fight we had was the one like insect-like boss that will have a clone of itself appear behind you, and you had to fight both of them at the same time. That's the only boss we had any difficulty with. The rest of them, we just washed them. So it was fun though. I do like it. It's got that Souls-like feel with guns, and they nailed it. It really worked. So those are the 3 games that I've beaten recently. I played V Rising, which is like this isometric. It's an RPG. I guess it's a Diablo kind of game.
I was gonna say it's more of a dungeon crawler.
Yeah,
RPG,
but it's got survival elements in it, which I haven't played it since I streamed it. I want to play it a little bit more. I do like the game. I don't know how much of it I'm going to play because of the survival elements, because I'm just not into survival games like that. But if you're into survival games, I think V Rising is probably going to have some legs with people who like those kind of games. I've been playing Disco Elysium, which I'm still enjoying and loving. And I tried out this other Souls-like game called Dolmen. It is awful. Don't play Dolmen. Dolmen sucks. It's a bad game.
I almost got that game today when I saw it at the store. I was
Don't
like,
do it.
It looks like it's really cool by the back cover. Like the case art looks cool, but then I was like, I don't know about this game.
The environments look like they from the 360 era. Somehow the game on PC has ray tracing. I didn't see a lick of ray tracing anywhere. It was not good. It's not good.
What made you? Did you buy that game or was it like free somewhere?
It was. I got a code for it to try it out. To stream it.
Yeah.
I got a code for that and V Rising. V Rising definitely worth it. I'm glad I got a code for that. I'll continue to keep playing, do more content of V Rising. Dolmen, no. But that's what I've been playing. You know, I've been enjoying myself. I'm finally getting around to beating games again. You know, I had a little drought of games beat, but it's usually around this time of year where I just start like rolling through games, and I got a good number of them that I'm at the point where I'm about to finish. I'm probably gonna finish Disco Elysium before I go on vacation next week. We'll discuss. Actually, my vacation is not going to affect much of anything that we're doing with DPS. So we'll still have DPS next week for certain on Forte's channel. But yeah, I'm enjoying playing games, going through the backlog. You know, so.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that guy Smitty telling you to stop the Destiny slander, stop dying. You won't need to use tokens.
Smitty, I wasn't the one that died the most. Okay,
sir,
against that boss.
No, listen.
You died a lot. You died a whole lot.
But I didn't complain about it.
Doesn't matter. You died a lot. Is my point.
Because it's not an easy fight. Not at all. It's you saw how long it took us to get to the point where we understood how the room worked. It's been so long since I did that fight against Sabathun. You know, you go in there, especially when you get the new subclasses and stuff, and you start thinking like, oh, I'm so powerful. And then you forget that the game caps you 25 levels underneath the encounter because the legendary campaign, which is one of the best things that Bungie's ever done when it comes to the campaign and stuff. But when you realize that, you're like, oh, I have to really take my time in this. But Slow-Mo, how long were you stuck in that room before I came in there?
Like 5 minutes.
Oh, you had just started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
my patience level at that time.
You were
non-existent.
You were definitely like, man, this is some BS, man. What's up with these tokens? I'm like, yo. But no,
I dealt with the tokens the entire campaign.
But it was fun playing. It was still fun playing the game with you, man. I truly believe if you actually get all of the hate out of your bones for that game, you would actually enjoy. No one's telling you have to go in there and play 50 hours or anything like that, but every once in a while just put it in your rotation, because guess what, Slow-Mo, that game is still one of the best games that came out this generation and last generation. You don't have to know life it. It's still a great game.
is, you know,
that is the best. It's the best
we
ongoing
why
game
are we
right
talking
now.
about Destiny? I don't even know why we're still talking about it.
Because it's something
Um,
that me and you had in common over the course of this week, and we played it together. You said I don't like to play games with you.
you know what? I regret asking you to come play the game with me now, because now you're gonna just keep bringing it up. Hey, you wanted to play Destiny. You wanted to play Destiny with me. It's gonna be like this reoccurring theme that's gonna pop up. Like by in September and October, you're still gonna keep bringing it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay a channel membership to get you to stream it with me for 2-3 hours.
Oh my god, 3 hours is out of the question. Okay.
Well, see, it'll go by fast if I'm actually in there with you, though.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about some stuff.
Let's talk about some stuff. Let's talk about a lot of stuff.
We don't have a lot of topics today, but I think that last topic we're gonna spend a lot of time on because it was a really, really good state of play. And I think definitely worth looking at a couple of games that I saw that I was really interested in. You got a chance to catch it, right?
Yep, I watched all of it.
Yep. Good. So we at least we'll both have a lot of feedback because we like different. We have a lot of genres that we both like, but then we also have genres that we both dislike. That we like that the other one doesn't like, you know. So it's like I think that with some of those smaller games, I think we might have some different opinions on, but we'll see. Okay. Let's get into the first topic here, which is Bioware and EA have come out with a blog post talking about the title of their Dragon Age 4. So no, it's no longer called Dragon Age 4. Now it is called Dragon Age Dreadwolf. And so I was a little perturbed with this announcement because as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to see anything from Dragon Age until I see some gameplay. I don't want to hear nothing. I'm tired of them talking about stuff. I'm tired of them showing concept art. They announced this game in 2019, I think it was 2019. This trailer here that I'm showing, I think was from the Video Game Awards in 2019. And since then, we have seen really nothing from Dragon Age Dreadwolf. And so, actually, this is the second trailer. This is 2020. They gave us 2 teaser trailers, and we've got almost no gameplay whatsoever. So, Forte, what do you think about Dragon Age Dreadwolf? What do you think about this?
I think it's actually pretty cool that they're actually showing this stuff. I mean, because that's all we've been really wanting, just to know. I mean, they really didn't show anything.
No, they just told us what the title is, which was pretty obvious to me.
It was pretty obvious. I would have preferred if they're gonna do this that they actually probably some type of character mop up, like at least what the characters are going to look like in the game or something like that, or just have some type of in-game asset ready to go just to show off the tech that they're using. I mean, because with them being a part of Bioware, we know they got good tech. I mean, even though some of the tech kind of doesn't work in other games when it comes to like the Frostbite engine and stuff like that. But we definitely know that they have tech that they can use to show off at least a model of a character, you know, skin tone colors and stuff like that. You know, you see that a lot with Epic when it comes to things that they want to do when they're talking about showing off their brand new engines, or when they were making games and stuff, they were showing that type of stuff off in their games. It would have been nice to get something like that. I think it's a little underwhelming just for the fact that it's just basically the name and the title card of the game, and they gave you some representation of what the actual cover art of the game might look like with the logo and everything. That's cool, but it really doesn't do anything to like quell the satisfaction that a lot of people that have for this game. People want to get old style Dragon Age back, and all this does is just show that we're still working on it. We're still working on it. And you've been working on this for, it feels like, half a generation now. When are we actually going to start seeing something from it? So I like the fact that they did something. I just wish instead of doing this, they went a little bit more in the character side of just showing more of the assets versus just a title for a game that we already knew was a thing. This is, I mean, honestly, if you think about a reveal that this kind of felt like, it felt like Outer Worlds, like how Outer Worlds actually just went out and just gave you a trailer, don't know anything about the game. They went even further in their trailer of talking about the game than they did with just showing this title of what the game is going to be. So I think that is, it feels like that's where BioWare is with this game. And for a lot of people, it just feels like that's not good enough because you've been working on this for the better part of half a generation and we need to see more.
I agree. It's time to show some gameplay. They don't show any gameplay this year, a vertical slice or something. Give us an idea of what the game is going to play like. And it's interesting seeing like a fourth entry into a series, and even the mainstay fans like myself aren't quite certain what the gameplay is going to play like. It's not a forgettable franchise, as someone in the chat tried to say. Dragon Age is got a very, very dedicated fan base, but it is a previous entry, one game of the year of the year it came out. People like to say that was a down year. I think they just hating. But the reason why I want to see gameplay is because if you think about Dragon Age Origins, that was very much an old Bioware style combat system, which I enjoyed and loved. Dragon Age 2 went completely in like a 180, completely separate direction, where it was really a ton of action. It was like all action, and that was a bit that to go from a very traditional Western RPG combat style to like blood pumping action everywhere was like definitely not what people who were, you know, big into the game wanted. But then also I kind of understood, considering EA didn't really give the Dragon Age team a lot of time to make the game. And then we saw with Inquisition, it was like a mixture of both, which was, I thought, an enjoyable experience. Although I would prefer the way Origins was done. Now, all that said, like that kind of makes it like with Dreadwolf a mystery on where they're gonna go with it. They could very well give us the same kind of combat that we got from Inquisition, and I'd be fine with that. But you just never know for certain. And I also kind of feel like for BioWare, this is a very pivotal game for them. You got 2 L's under your belt for your last 2 games. And EA in the past has had a reputation of not being very patient with developers that are not performing well, not living up to expectations. And so I think that like Dragon Age Dreadwolf really needs to hit, and it needs to hit in a big way. It needs to be a return to form. At the very least, it has to be just a good RPG. Because I think when they've kind of lost that luster that they used to have, but I think also a lot of people are written BioWare off completely. You know, they could at least make the game just a good Dragon Age RPG. That, and then, you know, the next Mass Effect comes out, and the next Mass Effect blows people away. And then, you know, I think BioWare might be back. Forte, are you gonna get Dreadwolf? Is this something you're gonna end up getting?
Oh man, I always tell myself the biggest thing with them, I really did see. Inquisition was fine. I enjoyed it. I think it was just the fact that I didn't like the co-op part of it as much, and that kind of like kind of darkened my overall opinion.
Well,
of
I
the
mean,
game.
you didn't have to do the co-op.
I know you didn't have to, but that's like when I was really heavily into the co-op. So it was like I played that first, and then I went and did the campaign. And the campaign was fine. It was just I should have never ever played the co-op side of that game because it just made me not too much care about it. But more, it really just comes down to what the reception is. I'm not going to say that I'm going to base it off of like reviews or opinions and stuff like that. It just comes down to I just don't want. Look, it's so many games coming out now. It's almost at a point now. Do you really want to waste your time? It's like this game hasn't shown enough. I mean, even like you said, even people like you, starch hardcore Bioware fans of this game are worried about it, and that's just like
Well, I'm worried about anything Bioware at this point.
That's what I'm saying. But that's like that's your baby. That like of all of their franchises, I believe Mass Effect is up there because Mass Effect is great. It's like all of them were great. All of them have their own great opinions. Even Andromeda, Andromeda just isn't nowhere near as good as the original trilogy. But for you, I always got the opinion from you that BioWare and Dragon Age, that was the top dog for you. That was For me, I've always said this.
I recognize Mass Effect is the better trilogy, but Dragon Age is the series I prefer the most.
It's the one you prefer the most, right?
It's the setting, it's the story, it's the writing, it's the characters. They, I think for those three aspects, I think they are stronger for Dragon Age than even Mass Effect when it comes to characters that have really iconic moments and stuff. It's really that good. I just don't, with like the number of senior people at BioWare that have moved on to other studios like Aspire, Archetype Entertainment, Yellow Brick Games, Humanoid. So many and that so many other like smaller studios that now it's like I'm actually kind of looking forward to what those studios may be doing more than what BioWare is doing at this point. So it's a little concerning. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I think in general, I'm definitely interested in it, but it's like of all the studios that's out there, I have to see more. It's almost like how you are with Dragon Age, and you're gonna give it a try no matter what because you're a fan of that franchise, and you not at least giving it a fair shot would kind of be like you being disingenuous to yourself. That's how I am with Halo. I know 343 is a train wreck, but I'm gonna give every Halo game a fair shake no matter what, due to the fact that I just love the franchise so freaking much. And it doesn't matter until that franchise is dead, I will always be there for the initial run. Doesn't mean I'll stick around, but I'm at least give it a go. And that's how my perception of you when it comes to Dragon Age is. So I'm gonna literally take my kind of clue off of you because I do like the storytelling that they do in those type of games, but this isn't nowhere near the same BioWare that made even Inquisition at this point.
Right.
So
their last good game.
Yeah, their last good game
that came out in 2014.
It was a launch
8 years ago.
It was a semi-launch window game for Xbox One and PS4.
Right.
So I think that's the thing that kind of holds people like me and people that aren't like truly like ingrained in that type of storytelling when it comes to that, because I'm more, like I said, I'm a sci-fi person. That's why Mass Effect spoke to me. I'm not really the medieval type gamer and stuff like that when it comes to that. Like Witcher was great because it was like my first foray into playing that, so I actually enjoyed that. Where Dragon Age was like, that's cool. I can do these things. I like how you have magical spells and everything like that. It's the same thing with like, I'm not a huge Bethesda person. Like Skyrim was cool, but it wasn't something that like, oh my god, I gotta run on and buy Skyrim for the 15th time, but those type of games kind of speak to people. But that's why I can rock with something like Halo or something like Mass Effect or even something completely off the wall like Diablo and stuff, because it's all about magical powers and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I kind of stay, and that's why I think Avowed is something I'm really looking forward to, because I think that game has kind of a chance to kind of bridge a couple of different gaps, especially in the genre of game that it's going to be in. So
yeah, look, Obsidian might be the new Bioware in this generation, considering that unlike Bioware, their games have actually gotten better over time and not worse. We can move on. Let's discuss.
Oh Lord.
Here we go. Let's discuss Fable. Let's talk about some information, or at least some talk and discussion that has occurred in regards to Fable and its development with good old Playground Games, who I have always spoken highly of, because I think Playground is an excellent studio. They have done great work in the past with the Forza Horizon games, and I've always kind of looked at like, you can't really knock a studio for only doing great with what they have been able to do.
Right.
Like, they haven't had the opportunity to work with anything else. So, like, you can't really say, well, they can't do this, they can't do that, because they haven't had that opportunity yet. Now they're getting that opportunity with a action RPG, with Fable, and this game's been in development for a good little while now, and there's some. I think I'm not 100% certain. I'm not 100% certain, but I think this talk began on a podcast, and I think it began with Gaz, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right. Now, I don't have a clip of what Gaz said, but he said that, like, essentially what he heard was they were doing some scoping on the content that they were putting into the game, and he didn't want. I almost kind of felt like after he said it, he immediately wanted to take it back, because he didn't want to make a big deal out of it.
Than people would be, yeah.
And then of course, it became a big deal anyway. But one of the senior producers on Fable, and I'm gonna switch to what she said. Hopefully this works just fine. There we go. She spoke up on this on the 1st, which was yesterday, and she said this. Again, she's a senior producer on Fable at Playground Games. She used to work at Lionhead, so this is someone who had already worked on Fable in the past, because Lionhead Studios was the original developer for the IP back before they got shut down last generation. But she said, I wanted to clear something up about scoping. It is a normal, necessary, and healthy part of game development. I can guarantee that every single AAA game you've ever played will have gone through scoping regularly during development. She continues, its intention is to make sure the team are focused under one clear vision and can get it made in the time they have without killing themselves. Games that haven't been scoped correctly often have delays and crunch. Both we should be aiming to avoid whenever possible. So, Forte, what are your thoughts on this, man?
So, when I read that, the first thing that came to my mind is they are talking developer speak, and people do not understand what the heck they're talking about.
Right.
Because if you just take the word scoping, and even if you look up just the base dictionary of it, it's basically getting down to it's like you're scoping in and getting down to the minutia, the bare metal of exactly what it is. So like you talk about treatments and stuff, it basically comes down to, we need to make sure, like, we're in week 14 or we're in week 28 and we have a 56-week development cycle for this one thing that we're doing. Well, when we get to these milestones, we need to all come together, have a conversation on exactly where we are, so we can, like she said, scope down to make sure we're staying on track. And when they also mean, sometimes maybe that was kind of the problem with with Starfield, where they just had so much stuff in the game, they didn't have a proper way of scoping over the course of 5 or 6 years. They probably weren't doing it consistently enough, and it got to the point where there became so much bloat into the game where they had to delay the game in order to get it into a manageable state where they can basically QA the game the way the game needs to be QA. And on top of that, making sure that there isn't so many other systems that are broke in the game because they went so far along in development without actually touching bases on the little things as they built up to these bigger things. It's basically saying, let's deal with all of these little rocks before they turn into boulders. And that is what I'm thinking she is more kind of like express to people inside of that tweet. Twitter don't give you enough characters to like kind of, to like talk about it like I basically just did. But it just really comes down to, we need to make sure we're staying on track with all of these different systems that we have. And if there is a problem somewhere, we need to figure out, is that something that we can fix now, or do we need to scale down the vision we have of that one thing to not either only take it away and see if it's beneficial to the game as a whole, or do we need to put some resources in place to get it up to speed so we're not going back 6 weeks later and try to fix something that should have been fixed then. They're just basically doing this whole scope over the whole project in like little sections, and that's how you get to a full release of a game on time. That's why she basically talked about, when people don't do this, that's how you get delays. And the first thing I thought about was Starfield, because that developer came out and said that the game is huge. It's so many issues with it. They said the game is fun, but they said in general, there's going to probably be a situation where this game is going to ship with too much content unless something happens. And guess what they did? They delayed it. And that kind of really spoke to the conversation that I saw just in that tweet alone.
Okay. I don't necessarily disagree with what you said or with what Amy is saying. I'm not a developer, so like,
yeah, we're not developers. So
my first time hearing the word scoping or rescoping, it was due to this conversation, period. So like, I'm not trying to speak as an authority or anything, nor would I even attempt to, but there are people who are developers that have been saying something slightly different. Now I want to shout out to our dear friend Di, who goes by Agent Deli on within the gaming industry or the gaming community. He is a former Ubisoft developer, and he has something to say about this as well. So I'll switch to that. And Di said, rescoping is usually around pre-production or early production. I'm assuming they're early production since they're hiring directors still. Now, Forte.
Yeah.
You know how long this game been in development?
Well, we known about. Well, they
No,
announced it.
There were rumors about this game.
They announced it in 2018, but we heard
No.
rumors of it.
They announced it in like 2020, I think.
Was it 2020? Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
2020.
they announced it in 2020.
But we heard rumors of this game going back to 2016, 2015.
Yes, we knew this game was in development a long time ago. Now, it wasn't originally Fable, but by the time we heard about the game, it was already Fable at that point.
Yeah, it was a different IP because they could not shop the game to any. This is when they were still independent, and they couldn't find a person that would take on the project. And then when Microsoft got a chance to see it, they went to them and said, "Hey, can you turn this into Fable?" And they were like, "Absolutely." And then that's how Fable became born. But that is something that has been known, at least that has been known to be rumored for at least 5 years at this point now.
Which is why prompted me to ask that after. So look, what Deli is saying here is slightly different than what Amy is saying. Amy is like, "Oh, look, we all throughout the development process, we do scoping. we'll scope it, see if we need to, change some things here and there, refocus our direction and make sure that we don't need to crunch. We do this all throughout development. And Deli's like, yeah, that's usually around pre-production or early production.
Right.
And if that is the case, here we are in 2022, and yet here is another Xbox game studio first-party game that is still in early production after years. Pre-production isn't supposed to last that long. I know that much. Pre-production shouldn't be lasting 3 or 4 years. That you shouldn't be in pre-production unless you are a studio that's making multiple games, but you don't have multiple teams. So you got like one team, the bulk of your studio is working on one game, and you got another game in pre-production for years, waiting on that other game to get released so that the staff working on that game could then go be transitioned to the other game. That's how CD Projekt Red had worked for years. That's how Naughty Dog had worked for years.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are. Are you telling me you're still in pre-production after 4 years? Which is why I had to say here, I don't understand what's going on over there. The rumors were out about this game in development since before Microsoft acquired them in 2018. 4 years later, and they're just in early production. And I know, I didn't really expect Deli to answer this question, because how can he? He don't work for Playground. Only people who could really answer that question is people like Amy. People who are actually there and working on the project and know what's going on. But I punt this question to you, Forte.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a problem here? Is there a problem with the production line? Is there a problem with the development process of making games at Xbox?
All right, so I don't think there's that. Okay, so let me put it like this. We know that of all their studios, Playground Games is, of all their original, well, that's not even original studio, but studios they worked with on a consistent basis throughout all of last generation, Playground Games was by far their best.
Mm-hmm.
It was by far the best. They were only making one game at that point, but that one game they did great. They did it great from all the way from Horizon 1 all the way through. So we know that it's not ineptitude or anything at that studio. We know it's not a lack of leadership when it comes to that studio and stuff like that.
Well, they're not inept at making racers.
No, I know that's what I'm saying. They're not inept at making racers, but we also got to come to the realization that they have been still hiring for this game consistently over the course of the last 3 years. Like, there's always some type of job posting popping up about it. I'm not saying that the game may not be in what like the traditional sense of pre-production is. There is probably a lot of stuff still done in the game, but as a whole, there is still parts of the game that they are still working their ways through. Like, I don't even think they have a full complement of staff completely dedicated to this game just yet.
I mean, like as Deli said, they're still hiring directors.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're still hiring people. So that kind of gives me an idea. Like, they may have world design artists and world design department leads. They may have story leads and they may have story department stuff like that. But who knows? The combat side, they may not have a combat lead director.
They do have a lead director. They I don't know if he's still there in that, but they
have an overall lead director, but I'm talking about, but there's
no. They have a combat lead director.
They do have a combat lead director. Okay.
He was actually he was one of the combat people for Hellblade.
Okay, cool. Oh, well, that's one thing. Well, we don't know if he's still there, but if he's still there, that's good to know. But that's what I'm kind of hinting at. We don't know what they're still like. We know they're still hiring for that type of stuff. We don't know what parts of the game they pretty much have like solidified that this is the direction they're going, and we don't know what parts of the game they still are looking for like kind of more answers to. This only just proves to me that this game isn't coming out, like we were saying, 2024, maybe 2025. But this also goes back to the problem that I always had with Xbox. They waited to the last second to make tangible moves as a platform. Like you cannot make games overnight. You literally took a studio, like look at the initiative, all that talent. They announced that studio 2017. We're in 2022. Now we know that they were building that studio up over 5 years, but we're no closer to getting Perfect Dark now than we were in 2017. It feels like.
Yeah.
So to the point that Crystal Dynamics had to come in and basically say we're taking over the development of the game in partnership with them. So this doesn't kind of surprise me. It's just more of a situation that Xbox just finds themselves in this situation. And until they start releasing these games, this is going to be consistently the issue that's going on with them, because they went from very small offerings with the 3 to 4 studios they had to having a massive footprint of over almost 30 when it comes to the Activision Blizzard deal going through. But it's always predicated on when are we going to start seeing the games from these developers, because part of the problem was developers like developers like Obsidian, they already had a game that released. So we know they're in the pipeline for another 2 to 3 years working on their next one. And then you also have all these other studios that's been working. Compulsion had a game come out the year that they did their acquisition with them. Hellblade just released like a year and a half, 2 years before their acquisition and stuff. So we can see the games on the horizon. But this was also that point where we were talking about during the Xbox reveal last year, where they showed so much Forza. Like you could tell that Xbox was proud of Forza Horizon 5, because I never seen them show off a game that way, because they were proud of what they were showing off. The fact that they are not showing off these games, and next week could change, or 2 weeks can change that, because we do have June 12th right around the corner. They have an opportunity to do that all over again. But until we start seeing that type of like push from Xbox saying we care, and not that we care, that we think these games are going to be strong, and they start showing them in showcases like that, you should be worried about every IP they have underneath them releasing in any type of a manner right now, because we don't know any of these titles what kind of situation they're in, and anybody that's telling you they do know, they really don't, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say what is or isn't either way. I just kind of like, I'm starting to see a theme, and that theme seems to always be behind on where they should be at this point. And the way that's going to turn out to be, unfortunately, when it's all said and done, is when we thought we were getting games to go into Game Pass, is likely not going to be where we thought it was. So like, hopefully 2023 is a lot better with content releases from Xbox first party than 2022 is, clearly. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. Are you ready to talk about this state of play, sir?
Oh yeah, let's go.
All right, so state of play was today at 6 p.m. Eastern. About 4 hours ago. It was expectations were set ahead of time. They told us, hey, look, this is going to be third party, and this is going to be PSVR stuff. Don't ask for nothing else. You're not getting anything else. This isn't first party games. No God of War Ragnarok. They set expectations ahead of time, and I appreciate that. I liked what I saw from this, though. A few things that I noticed. One, Resident Evil 4 Looked all right. This is a very, very Capcom heavy show. I think Capcom showed probably about 3 games. Did they show 3 games?
Actually, I think they did.
They showed Resident Evil 4.
Yes,
they did. They did 3 games. Because they showed Resident Evil 4, and they showed Resident Evil Village on VR.
And they showed Street Fighter. Oh no, yeah,
and they showed Street Fighter 6, which kind of shocked a lot because most people was thinking that it'll be at Evo, right? Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Now I'm not a big Resident Evil fan, so I'm not going to be out here capping saying, "Oh, I'm about to get Resident Evil." Nah. Now, I did enjoy Resident Evil 3, and I know a lot of people didn't like. A lot of Resident Evil fans didn't like the changes they made to Resident Evil 3 remake, but I enjoyed them. So if Resident Evil 4 is like 3, I'll get it. But I'm fairly certain there's going to be a lot of unhappy people in that regard. What do you think about Resident Evil 4?
Resident Evil 4 was one of the, either you loved it or you hate it. It looked really good. I think a lot of people, the people that loved Resident Evil 4 are going to love it. It just depends on what they do with the overall systems, and if they build, like, did they keep it true to the original game? Did they change a lot of we know they changed a lot of the assets up and stuff like that. But how does it play? And are they going to go with the more RE6 and on type movement and gameplay, or are they going to keep it true to what it was when it was back there? Because that was like kind of more of a hybrid. That's something that a lot of people really liked about RE2 and RE3, because they didn't really change. They modernized it enough to make the controls feel better, but they kind of left it, pretty much in the state that it was in. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it if they actually do it. Of all those games, RE is my daughter's favorite franchise ever, and she was I was driving home watching it, listening to it while I was driving, and my daughter FaceTimed me. It was like, "Dad, I need to," she said, RE8 and RE4. I need to get a PlayStation VR, and I was like, "Why?" And she said, "No, PlayStation VR for RE8," and I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Can it please come to Oculus so I ain't got to buy a PSVR?" That's the only thing I really care about. Just please come to Oculus. But I do think a lot of people are going to probably enjoy what they're going to get with I think the Resident Evil fans at this point are just happy that Capcom is actually doing something with the franchises and stuff by bringing and modernizing a lot of the old ones back up. But there's going to inherently be some people that aren't going to like it. They rather see something new. They rather see the next iteration of what's going to happen with the games and stuff, instead of them going back into the old catalog. But I'm fine with it. I thought it looked really, really good, and it's been something that's been rumored forever, and they finally announced it.
Replying to Luca in the chat. Shout out to Luca. Resident Evil Village VR. I think here's something I know for certain. Like later on in the game, you get into some like big boss fights. I remember seeing clips and stuff like that. I wonder how that would play in VR, because it just seems like, I don't know if like your VR headset will be able to keep up. Me, I don't want to play Resident Evil the traditional way. So ain't no way I'm playing it in VR. That is a negative. That's never going to happen, is what that is.
Something.
But I do think that game's probably going to do great in VR. I really do think so. I don't even. This is it. This next VR game was the Walking Dead game, Saints and Sinners, I think it's called.
Saints and Sinners.
Yeah, I don't know much about this game. Yeah, actually, I mean, it looks all right. It looks okay.
It's something that was supposed to be a regular standalone game that they turned into a VR game, it looks like.
Yeah, this is another one that I'm probably just going to skip in VR. Like I have an Oculus Quest 2, So I have zero desire to get a PSVR. Although I know there's going to be a lot of unique experiences on PSVR, especially from like first party PlayStation, because they want people to get their headset. But nah, I just no.
No.
Yeah, I looking at the specs. It's a more powerful VR headset than the Quest 2, but I barely play. I can't remember the last time I played my Quest 2, so I'm not going to spend even more money on a VR headset on PlayStation that I'm probably not going to use very much either. So is what it is. You know, I want to use my Quest 2 more. I haven't even played. I bought what's the Half-Life Alyx? I bought Half-Life Alyx, still haven't played it yet. So like I really haven't even
VR game.
Yeah, I haven't even, that's probably one of the best VR games ever made. So I still haven't even really done anything with the one I already have. Like they also showed No Man's Sky in VR. They really be pushing No Man's Sky on everything. I mean,
I will give them this though. All of those VR games looked really good. Like really good for VR games. I was like, especially when you're looking at, like I was looking at the Resident Evil, I was like, man, Resident Evil looked really, really good in VR. I mean, granted, you have to wait till you get the headset on to actually try it out for yourself to see exactly what it's going to look like. But it looked really good. I was like, when I was looking at the No Man's Sky trailer, I was like, this is No Man's Sky, and I was looking like, yo, this looks really cool. And I am one of those people. I don't really frequently use VR. I have a regular the PS VR for PlayStation 4, and I had it for Ace Combat. I like those type of games, so that by itself might get me to play, finally get me to play No Man's Sky, because just being able to sit in the cockpit, especially since they added co-op to the game. I don't know if it's going to have co-op in the VR mode, but if it does, being able to have like these open world environments and stuff that you could fly around through when you're inside, you know, the cockpit of your ship and stuff like that. Yeah. I can see that really kind of getting like people that really work into that type of game into it, due to the fact that you had a traversal that's going to be a part of it. So I think that's actually a cool thing. And I think that was like one of the good things about the PlayStation VR mode that they have for like Star Wars Rogue Squadron, because those type of games kind of work for people when it comes to that. But the problem always comes down to this, Slow-Mo. VR is one of those things that most people, probably close to 85 to 90%, they love it. They love the experience of it, but they can't do it longer than 5 minutes, or they can't do it at all. Because
motion sickness, other issues.
Literally, that is always the hang up. If you ask most people who try VR, they love the experience. It either costs too much and it's not practical for them, or B, they just physically can't do it because of motion sickness and stuff. And that's kind of where it is with that. So, the power that this new VR headset is supposed to have in it, with the higher frame rate in each eye, I think that will help with that. But the games themselves, I think they actually had some pretty good bangers in there to actually start off.
That Horizon game looks pretty good.
It looked really good. It looked almost as good as the
base game. Yeah. And you know, it's your main character is not Aloy, so maybe it won't be as boring.
Oh man, are you trying to say that Aloy is boring?
Yeah, she kind of boring, bro. So maybe like your main character might be a little bit more interesting. This could be, but I mean, to be serious, the Horizon game could be their Half-Life Alyx. You know, like Half-Life Alyx probably sold a lot of Valve indexes on PC, and I could see, you know, that being something that people look towards on PlayStation and say like, yo, this is, you know, a reason to get a VR headset. I mean, for me, it's not enough for me, but you know, right. We'll see what happens. Are you? I don't know if you said that. Are you getting the PSVR too?
More than likely, it just depends. If I like Horizon, see. The Horizon's not enough for me to go out and buy it, like to like purchase it myself. But if Resident Evil is like exclusive to it, like initially, because I already know my daughter. The fact that she called me on the phone, it was like, I need this. I already see myself buying it strictly for her when it does release. I'm just hoping that it comes to PC day and date, so I can just hook her Oculus Quest up to the PC and then she can play it that way. But it really comes down to that for me. Like, what is the lineup going to look? Do you already know that they said Horizon it's going to be exclusive to the VR platform, which it should be because that's their own platform,
right? And that's how you drive sales for your headset, or if you make it so. Although, no, never mind. I was about to say, since they're increased interest in PC, whether they will allow it to be available, at least playable on PC. And then that kind of goes into, do you make the VR headset like natively playable on the PC? Because they're like, even the first PSVR can be playable on PC with like a little work, but if they supported it, that might actually drive sales a little bit more. And then maybe people could use whatever headset they already own at that time. If they own a VR, a Quest 2, if they own a Valve Index, then they can just use that instead. Who knows? I'm gonna tell you what I do know though.
What do you know?
The whole slate's going to PC, baby. That's what I know. The entire slate, whole, as in everything, the entirety of the slate is coming to PC. And shout out to all you guys out there that told me, slow-mo, they ain't never getting Spider-Man on PC. Out of all the games that's coming, that's the one game that's not coming.
Yeah.
I heard that before. I heard that about God of War. Look what happened. And now look at this. Shout out to Insomniac and Sony for both Spider-Man and Miles Morales selling 33 million copies. It's freaking amazing. 2 games, 33 million copies in like the course of 4 years. That's astounding. They get the standing, ovation clap for that. But let's talk about how this thing is going to PC. We get it on PC August. Will be Spider-Man, and sometime in the fall will be Miles Morales. Guess what Slow-Mo's doing? He's buying both of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just can't wait. It's gonna run and play so much better on my PC than it did on my PS4 and then my PS5. It's just so much better. Forte, are you getting it, man? Are you getting it? We done.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Okay, that's what I like to hear.
I definitely got to get it just for the fact that it's going to be running as insane frame rates on there. Can you imagine swinging through the city at 144 frames per second?
I don't have to imagine because I'm going to experience it in 2 months. I will experience it. I won't even have to imagine it. Love it.
It's gonna be so buttery smooth, bro. It's gonna be
so love it. Now, we'll say massive W if you for those subscribe to the PS Plus Extra or Premium tier, you're gonna get Stray at launch in the service, no additional charge. And I think, look, Stray is a game that I thought was interesting, looked all right, but I'm not buying that. But like a lot of games I see on Game Pass, I look at it and I'm like, I'm not buying that. But it's in Game Pass, so I'll try it. And then it turns out, that wasn't that bad a game. That's what I'm going to do with Stray. I will play Stray because I don't have to buy it. I'm already subscribed to the service. It's going to be there available at launch. What about you, Forte?
Yeah, that was actually pretty interesting that they were doing that. This is something that a lot of people say. I can see this game being one of those games that they do throw into the service, and I think this is going to kind of be the direction they're going to go, just like Game Pass does with some of the smaller games and stuff like this. I think this is going to be like their Death's Door and stuff like that when it comes to like little smaller games hitting inside the service day and date. You'll still see like a lot of those, probably some bigger games from third-party publishers hitting those type of deals day and date. But I do think this is kind of the direction they're going to go in initially, and then it will just ramp up from there over the course of the generation until I feel like they hit equilibrium where they feel like they have enough subscribers inside of that service to kind of put even bigger games in there. But I do think that is a really, really good move for them. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's cool that they're putting that in there, because I don't think anybody was really looking at that game was like, I want to play that, until they saw that come across the screen, like, oh, I'll give it a try.
Right. And I think that might do the game a lot of favors, especially if it's a really quality title. Man, you know, that might actually endear people to the game, and then next thing you know, that developer might really be having another title coming out pretty soon. What did you think about Callisto Protocol, which is being developed by the former Visceral studio they used to do Dead Space? What do you think about that game?
That might be the best looking game they shown on there outside of Horizon.
Look, it looked good.
It looked good though. I mean, I think like it does. I mean, I'm not trying to look too much into the overall because I don't know what the game's really going to truly be, but what I saw was interesting enough to like say, yo, I had to look into this. I might actually look into this to see, because I didn't really look into that game at all until they showed it to this, and then I started looking up some stuff. I was like, oh, this looks actually pretty cool, making from the Dead Space and stuff like that. And I was like, I like the aesthetic of the game, and honestly, let's be for real, graphics sell, and the game looked really good. It looked at least good enough to me where it made me like,
it looked alright. Look,
no, it looked
it ain't for me, so I'm not gonna play it. But
okay, so what was the thing that threw you off?
It's a like a horror kind of game. So exactly. I'm not really into that.
Well, that's exactly what it is, and that's why I said for me, it actually is something that kind of like, oh, I didn't look at it as like, for me, it kind of looked like, listening to you, the fact that they had horror elements, you were instantly out. Don't care how good the game looked or anything, I'm out. I'm not even.
I did think certain parts were cool, like when the main character is sliding by where he thinks is a dead body, and then his one eye opens and looks. I like cinematically. That was cool, and I like horror movies. I'm into those. I'm all into the horror movies. I can eat dinner and watch, you know, a grotesque horror movie, and it means nothing to me. Horror games, though, different story, right? I do think that with the hype that it's getting, it's probably going to do a lot when it comes out, as far as people getting a lot of people into it, because again, like, it's marketed as the former devs of Dead Space, and Dead Space is a beloved IP, and it's coming out, I think, like either a month before or a month after Dead Space. So I really want to see that that face off. Two very similar games, the old game remastered, and then this new one, you know, by the people who made the old game. That's fascinating to me, although I don't want to play either one of those games. Shout out to Erodimus with a $10 super chat. No fam, here's some funds to help you buy the game, because Sony doesn't do royalties for games that go in their service. I don't know which game he's talking about. I think he's talking about Spider-Man. Saying Spider-Man's going to be $50. Look, God of War was $50. God of War won Game of the Year. Spider-Man did not win Game of the Year. Why would Spider-Man be more on PC? Like, they have not priced anything on PC at $60 yet. Everything has been at like $50 or $40. So no, like, you don't have to worry about that. He said it's for Stray. Oh, I'm already subbed to the tier, so I get Stray in there. But I appreciate the super chat, Rodimus. Let's get caught up. They had a break from the bigger titles to show some indie games. I think Roller Drone. Hold up, let me actually just go back through here. It was Callisto. There it is. Roller. It's by private, or it's being published by Private Division. But Roller Drone. I say any mundane game can look great with guns.
With guns. Yep, I was gonna say.
It could be bowling.
Yep.
And you could like roll a strike and then shotgun the guy in the lane beside you. And I'd be like, I'll play that. Yeah, I'll play that. It got gun. I can shotgun a guy. Look, that's it. Look, aesthetically, art direction. I know some people might be like, you know, it looks like a comic book. They may not be down for it. I thought this was dope. I liked it. I thought it was pretty dope. I like doing the stunts and everything, and shooting the guns and all that. It looked pretty cool. What about you?
Yeah, well, it looks fast. The thing is, it looks really fast paced. So if you like fast paced gameplay, it's cool. You're running around on roller skates, which is always a cool thing. You put roller skates and guns in people's hands. You're gonna have a fun time, and it looks like there's gonna be like a little trick system element inside of it too, where you can pull off acrobatical moves and stuff. I wonder if there's going to be scoring in the game and stuff like that. They probably didn't have that shown or overlaid onto the game just to keep the presentation clean. But I think that would be a really, really cool thing if they actually did that, like make it a scoring system, like, you know, a star system. So as you're going through it, the more stylish kills and executions you have in the game, it'll be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was really, it was cool. It was interesting. When I first saw it, I was like, man, they can put a gun in anything and make it look good.
Yeah, you give them a gun, it's awesome. All of a sudden, it could be Monopoly. You know, you're playing Monopoly, and then everybody like it's like you add in Russian roulette, and you know you roll the dice, and then you gotta shoot the gun. Maybe I don't know. Like it just seems cool. The next one,
that $200 at Park Place,
right? The next one was I don't know how to say this, but Ether what up? Eterna something?
I got it right here. It's I know I can't. I know you about to actually ask me to actually pronounce something.
I just don't remember.
Eternal is it Eternal Nights, I think.
Eternal Nights, okay.
Yeah, Eternal Nights.
Now it's they like the description said like some kind of like action adventure like dating sim. The dating sim stuff, I am not with. I don't care about that at all. Nah. But the actual like gameplay looked pretty interesting. So I'm on the fence with that. Like if the gameplay's really good, I'll deal with the whole, you know, dating sim. Do you like me? Kind of silliness. You know, just the if the gameplay is fun and engaging. What about you?
I think the music is what made that game. It made it seem like more exciting than it actually was. Listening to the music, listening to the characters interact and talk to each other, listening to the girl kissing the guy, got him pressed up against the window, like every man's dream, probably when they were in middle school or high school or some stuff like that. I think it's interesting. I think in general, it's something that isn't for everyone. It's gotta.
Do you think they'll capture the anime audience, people who are into anime? You think they'll get that?
Yeah. People that like the Persona crowd. I don't think it's going to be a hardcore RPG, but I also think people that like games like, I think people that like games like Persona and stuff like that will probably gravitate or at least give this game a look. But this is another game that I can see possibly better off being not. It would probably get better reception inside of something like PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Premium than it will off by itself. Not saying that. I just think this should be a game that definitely is one of those games that they have a trial for, because it could live and die by that trial. I think that would be a best way to look at it, because it seems like it's trying to do a whole bunch of different things, but just from looking at it, it looks like it's not doing one thing in particularly well. But in general, you won't know that until you get at least an understanding of what the story's about. So I think that's the one thing about these type of games. You have to experience them first, because people will tell you, I don't want to play Persona because I don't want to feel like I'm in school. But that's only a part of the game. The rest of the game is the experience of progressing through the palaces and stuff, and progressing through those dungeons and stuff, and powering your characters up to be even more stronger and stuff. And I'm not saying this game's going to be that, but you don't know that about Persona until you actually experience it for yourself. So I think this is another game that's going to kind of be in that genre that try it before you buy it. Hopefully it's something that you can get your hands on in some type of trial basis to see, and it could be a game that takes off for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. Next up was Street Fighter 6, which I haven't cared
Had the
about.
longest trailer there.
Yeah, I haven't cared about fighting games and since I was in high school, but this was a really good trailer. I actually really liked what I saw from that, even though I'm not into fighters. But if I was into fighters, I'd be really excited, to play that. And it's unlike Street Fighter 5, it's not going to be exclusive to PlayStation. It's going to be available on all platforms, which is good for everyone. Everyone's going to get the opportunity to play this game. It looked like it's got like a little bit of open worldness to it. Like you can just go around and I guess a city and fight people. Challenge. I don't know what the heck they do. You don't play fighting games either, do you?
I used to play them all the time, man, but it's like it fell so far down the rabbit hole for me. Like I used to play Killer Instinct all the time. Street Fighter was a huge game that I played predominantly when it was in the arcades and stuff.
Me too, in the arcades, yeah.
But the more I always looked at fighting games, it was the intimate moment of sitting next to somebody on a stick and beating the crap out of them. You don't really get that feeling. I mean, you can if you're in a party chat with people or you're in like in a group of people that's playing like round robin style, you can still get that. But that doesn't happen as much, or maybe it's just a perceived notion that it doesn't happen because we're not a part of that community like we were when we were younger. So it looked good. I was looking at some of the animations. I was like, yo, why do these animations look so good? Because I haven't really looked at the Street Fighter scene in a long time. And the
this game is probably going to kill people with microtransactions.
They gonna murder that.
Kate just said this got an overworld. It's basically Street Fighter games as a service game. If you
shot of it,
yeah,
the screen that it had the little shot of the overworld.
Yeah, it's I'm not shocked by that. Man, can you imagine?
If Dead or Alive can do it, they can do it.
I don't know why I get a lot of 2K NBA 2K vibes from the open world. Kind of like the playground or whatever the park. Yeah, there it is, the park.
The city. What's called the city now.
Whatever. It's called the money pit.
They went to the playground to the park. Now they in the city.
Yeah,
I mean, a whole city you can walk around and get your hair cut in for money.
Man, I'm saying, look, they're gonna have stores in that city. They're gonna be like, hey, you want to change your character's outfit? Hey, spend that money. Look, it looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun, but I can see the dollar signs, in the eyes of Capcom with this one. They're definitely gonna monetize the hell out of this.
Absolutely, they are.
I think let me go back to because I actually started playing the 4K trailer that they showed. Let me skip a little bit ahead. Oh, Tunic. So Tunic is which we all knew Tunic was a timed exclusive. Well, at least most of us knew it, that it was a timed exclusive for Xbox. It's now going to be on PlayStation. Decent indie game. It's got a lot of Zelda vibes. I didn't really care that much for it. I played it for a little bit. It was cool. I know you liked it a lot, right?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the whole Zelda vibe of it and stuff like that. I think the cool thing is there is so many different ways to beat that game, and how fast you can go through it is really cool. It's really good for speed running and stuff like that. Like the developers actually built that into the game, which is actually a cool thing. But we all knew this was sooner or later coming to PlayStation. I think it was just the fact that it was going to be a Game Pass day and date, which was the win for Xbox when it came to that. But now it's coming over to other platforms, and they get to experience it too, because I think it's a game that stands on its own.
Yeah. I don't know what to make about the other game with the woman and the bike in the big open world. I don't
the glass. Yeah, I don't know. I
don't know what the point is.
I fell asleep during that part.
Yeah, she milking cows and stuff. It seemed like a bigger open world version of like what's that one game that everyone kept wanting to bring back? And it's like the guy like could be a forklift driver and all kinds of because with Shenmue. I was wondering if this was like a Shenmue kind of game or something. I don't know. It just looked weird to me. I don't care for it. I don't care for it. It's but what I do appreciate is it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Aramis, that was a woman. Yes, that's a woman.
Was that a woman?
I do appreciate that it's different, because not all games need to be the same, and not all all games were the same, gaming would be extremely boring. So the fact that this is a bit different is cool, and I appreciate developers jumping out there and trying something different. It's called Season of a Future
Season.
or something. But I mean, like, that's fine. I think that was it, and then the last thing was, and I guess we can talk about this for a little while, because I'm kind of hyped for this one. Final Fantasy 16 was shown as the final trailer, and as I thought it would be, it's not coming out this year. It's coming out in 2023.
Remind you of another game that's going to happen too?
Not God of War Ragnarok. Now I know that's for damn sure.
Remind you of another game that's going to happen too? Guess what, Slobo? I will be winning until every day they don't announce it is another day that I win.
No, it's not. That's not how this works.
Yes, it is. Every day that game is not announced, another day I win. Until the day I lose is the day they say God of War Ragnarok is releasing on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on October 6, 2022. And then at that moment is the moment I lost. But until that moment happens, Slomo, your boy riding high. Let's go.
You can ride high all you want.
I made it through a state of play. That's all.
Everyone knew it wasn't going to get announced at the state of play.
Shout out to Bari. Bari thought they still were gonna. He said that he thought they still were gonna show it, because they didn't like caveat it like they normally do. He said Bari
also thought that this game was coming out this year. So
that's true. So he's 50. He's at 50% right now.
Well, look, it's this game's definitely Final Fantasy 16 is definitely coming out in 2023. The summons look freaking amazing.
So good. Did you see Shiva?
Oh,
Did you see Shiva? Did you see Ifrit? Oh
yes,
my god! I was like, yo, look at Odin. I was like, yo, when I started seeing all those summons, bro, and then you start seeing the crits on them, I was like, yo, this is gonna be massive.
Yeah, I also, not just the summons, I like the way the combat looks, and it gives me it's like a mix of Final Fantasy 7 remake and Final Fantasy 15, which, like, the combat in 15 wasn't the problem. The problem in 15 was the story was nonsensical and it sucked, and but the combat was flashy yet simple. I think too simple. And I think with the way they seem to have incorporated some of the animation, the style of the animation in 7 remake, and hopefully some of the weight of that combat, from the way it looks to me like this is probably going to be the right mix that they needed for Final Fantasy. Hopefully the story really hits. I'm really intrigued with these characters and the way things are looking. I'm hyped for this game. I'm super hyped for it. What about you?
No, dude, 15 really kind of took the air out of it for me. Is like, I really wasn't too interested in 15, even though I have 15 with all the DLC and everything, and with the Royale Edition and everything. So I'm thinking one day I might go in and do it. But this one, man,
don't do it. Don't do it, dude.
Don't do 15.
Don't do 15.
15 is still a looker though.
It looks amazing, because the Luminous engine is a beautiful engine.
It's a beautiful engine, but
all that said, that game sucks.
Yeah,
it's a bad game, man.
I played once I got into the open world and you're riding around in the car, and I was like, yo, this just isn't it. But no, seriously, seeing this is the thing about Final Fantasy that really excites you. It's all about the over the top, spectacles, the giant bosses and stuff like that. I as soon as I saw the summons, and they knew what they were doing, the fact that they showing those summons, they was like, oh man, these are all the summons everybody know and love, and they showed them off in grand detail. And the people that don't even know what it's hard to believe that there's people out there that don't even know what Final Fantasy is. They know what it is now.
Yeah.
After looking at that, so I'm 100% in on that game. Unless they do something crazy to like go against it.
I'm gonna keep it bug with you. I'm an old school Final Fantasy fan. My very first RPG ever was the United States Final Fantasy 2, which was technically Final Fantasy 4. And that was my very first RPG that I ever played on the Super Nintendo. And I played Final Fantasy 3, which was Final Fantasy 6, really, which is still my favorite. I still think it's the best Final Fantasy to ever come out. And I didn't enjoy any Final Fantasies after 9. And I know some people are like, what about 10? What about 10? Shut up. I don't care. That game sucks. I don't care about 10. I'm not talking about the MMOs. Because like 11, was it 12? Which one's the 12 and 14? Are the MMOs? 11, 12, and 14?
11, 12, and 14 are the MMOs.
Yeah, I didn't play them. I didn't play them. But 10, bad. 13, horrendous. And they had the audacity to do a daggone sequel to that trash 13. And then 15 is even worse. So it's just like they just went further and further downhill. Hopefully 16 is a return to form. I just like that 9's great. 9's a great Lucius, but because Lucius Augustus says FF9 is the greatest Final Fantasy. 9's a great RPG. It's not better. It's better than 8, but it's not better than 6 and 7, in my opinion. 6 is still the best, by the way.
I agree with that.
I just kind of hope 16 can be a part of that conversation one day. You know, a mainline non-MMO Final Fantasy that actually rivals the older ones in story and characters and you know, of course the combat has gone way flashier and more action oriented than what it was back then. Back then it was very much just straight turn based, but it had its uniqueness in each turn based element. You had in 7 you had the materia system, in 6 you had the job system, in 8 they didn't give you MP. I can't remember how they did 8 exactly. There was no MP in 8. I just can't remember how magic was done. It's been a while. And then in 9, I love the way 9 was. 9 was awesome. I need to play that again.
You're right. It didn't have the materia, did it?
It had materia. You didn't have MP.
You didn't have magic points.
Yeah. It was different. It was different. But
and 10 was the spirit grid, right? If I remember correctly.
It's been a long time since I played 10.
10 was the spirit grid, yeah.
I didn't. People try to think I didn't hate 8. I like 8. I think 8 was cool. Out of it's better than 13, 10, and 15 by a large margin.
You really didn't like Lightning, did you?
It's not that I didn't like Lightning. It's just that I didn't like anything about 13 at all.
The only thing I didn't like about 13 was the fact that you were not in parties. Like they started you in parties, but then you played the next 60 hours not in the party.
Yeah.
Just to get to the end of the game to finally get back into a party system again.
Oh,
that's the one thing that drove me nuts about 13. Now 13.2 kind of alleviated that with that, and then Lightning Returns, you know, kind of fixed it all the way. But yeah, 13 was a real hard sell. If you are a traditional Final Fantasy fan and you like the party system, the party system was not. It was basically non-existent in that game for most of it.
Yeah. But all that said, I really hope 16 is a return to form. I do kind of wish it would come out this year, because it seems like it coming out this holiday would be perfect because it seems like there's not a lot of big games coming out this holiday. So but then you don't want them to rush it out. So look, if it can't come out to next year, it can't come out to next year. In regards to all the games that's supposed to be coming out next year, do you think Final Fantasy 16 will even get nominated for Game of the Year? Let's say it's great. Let's say it's great, right? Let's say it's a return to form for Final Fantasy. It's up there with like the really good ones.
What is the score?
89, 88, 89.
88, 89.
Does it get nominated for Game of the Year when you got Starfield? You got hold up.
I mean, Xbox. Well, Starfield will be the Xbox game more than likely if it makes it.
You got Resident Evil 4 remake. You got Breath of the Wild 2. You got well, there's more games coming out next year.
Did Resident Evil 2 get nominated?
Yes, it did. Yeah,
it did get nominated.
It did get nominated. Yeah, it didn't win, of course, but it got nominated.
It didn't win, but I know it did. You know, if it got nominated, there's always a chance there.
Yeah.
Wow. If we're going off of what we know for 2022 as of right now, yeah, it will get nominated. But that's only if the status quo stays the same, which it more than likely isn't. We don't know the full picture for next year. We don't know like if games like Avowed are going to come out next year. We don't, because we know that the release schedule for Xbox could get pushed back due to Starfield getting pushed back, and we don't know how that's going to kind of impact everything. But as of right now, I don't think there's enough games coming out next year of that type of quality, especially if Final Fantasy does come back to form in a noticeable way. I think then, yeah, it might stand up on its own and be a part of that conversation. It will be a part of that conversation if we basically have the games that we know of as of right now.
I agree. If it's a return to form for Final Fantasy 16, I think with that the pedigree of that IP, in addition to even the scope of the game, I think absolutely it would be in the conversation for Game of the Year. Absolutely.
Oh, you know, Aronis makes a good. I mean, he said as of right now, Starfield is the only game we know of that's current gen for next year. How much longer do you think? With the scarcity, especially with Sony and their financials, we talked about that on BRAP yesterday about the direction they're going with their live games as a service and stuff like that. How much longer do you think it's going to be until they completely flip everything over to PlayStation 5 development only when it comes to all of their games? Do you see that within the next year after it's got, I guess in a better way, it's God of War their last cross-gen game?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I mean they already said they're still supporting PS4 for like how many years? Like what? 2024?
Yeah, 2024. So when do we think that do we think with the lower production and systems and stuff over the course of this year, because they made that assumption last year that they were doing that. So do we think that they're going to move up that forecast? Do you think they're going to stick to that forecast?
I think they're going to stick to it, especially considering that they were hoping to be able to produce more hardware units for the current generation that they've been able to do. And since they haven't been able to do that, then they have been transitioning more of their games that they expected to be current gen only to cross gen. Gran Turismo 7 was one of those games, and I think you're probably going to start seeing that more. Like Spider-Man 2 might end up being, that would suck.
That might be the last cross-gen game, but Wolverine will be the one that would start it. Well,
yeah,
that would be the first Marvel game that would start it.
Yeah, I don't see Wolverine being a cross-gen game, considering that one probably is going to come out later than Spider-Man 2. But I think Spider-Man 2 is probably, you might as well just count that as a cross-gen game. As far as the scope of things, shout out to Romy for subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you, bro. I love that gift. I think the way it looks, okay, so Spider-Man 2, you're still in New York.
Yes.
So the map is still there, and you already know that map works on PlayStation 4. That you can render all of that and still have it, be a working map. Now, I think what the problem might be, as far as like density of things, like more, it might end up being like even though it's the same map and the same quest, the same missions, it may be a completely different build, in the sense that, I mean, it's a single player game, so you don't, it's not like, say, with Halo Infinite, where they had it's cross-gen game. You're playing with well, not yet, but you're gonna have co-op eventually. You're gonna be playing with other friends. You're gonna have to make sure that everyone sees the same number of enemies in the environment. So like that in that sense, you need to make sure that everything's the same. With Spider-Man, because it's a single player game, you don't have that problem. So you could have the PS5 version have way more civilians out in the city, way more enemies for you to fight, and then have the PS4 version be pretty much have the same number of those things than the previous Spider-Man version and Miles Morales. Like that would make sense to me. That you could kind of give a completely different build for PS5 versus the PS4, and then still, for people who aren't able to get a PS5, have a game available and get those sales. Because what they really care for is they want to make sure that they have the opportunity to sell to over 100 million people for these games, the way they had the opportunity to sell for 100 million people for the previous games. And
Right.
if you just lock it down to current gen, you're stuck at, I mean, over the course of the next 2 years, anywhere between 20 to 30 million, and that's it.
True.
So
No, I think that's a good point. Johnny says Insomniac stated that both will be PS5 only. They did say that, but it's kind of, I hate to say that.
They said that for Gran Turismo 7 when they first announced it. They said it was current gen only, and then they later on changed that to cross gen. So it's no guarantee.
Yeah, need more money.
It's no guarantee.
Yeah, so you're right about that's what they said, but ultimately, until that game releases and says PS5 on it, and you have a disc in your hand that is only PS5, don't believe anything that is being said right now.
You can't believe anything that they said. Look, at one point, I was messing around on Twitter with this tweet. At one point, Insomniac was like, Spider-Man is never, ever going to PC. Look at it now. Things change. Things change. At one point, they said that Death Stranding was only a PlayStation 4 exclusive. It went to PC.
At one point, they did say that Ratchet and Clank can only be done on the PS5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and guess what? Sooner or later, when that thing comes to PC, you'll be like, man, what happened to only being able to be done on the PS5?
And why is it load faster?
Right, why is it load faster on my NVMe SSD?
Oh my god,
it's so funny, man. But for real, I know John is just being, he's just putting facts out there. We're just having fun with the situation, but in general, when it comes to stuff that these publishers and these developers are saying, until the actual product is in your hands, don't believe anything these people say, because like God of War, people were looking at God of War, and I'm having fun with the situation with God of War not coming out of 20. Everybody knows I want the game to come out. I'm just having fun with the situation if I lose, and it's fun to me. But when they announce God of War for 2021, I literally laughed. I was like, yo, they are literally just trying to sell PlayStation 5s at this point, because I said they got me. I bought my PlayStation 5 day one for that one game that I knew wasn't coming in 2021. But how many people went out and saw that trailer for God of War? It was like, yo, God of War must be close, because they wouldn't be showing it as a trailer at the announcement event for PlayStation 5. 2 years later, still ain't here. So yeah, don't believe any.
You know what's funny?
These companies give you.
You know what's funny? They're not done.
No,
I mean, we already know they're not done, but they're not even done for this year. People were wondering. They was like, yo, how are they supposed to get 300 million? They got 80 billion in profit off of PC in last year. How are they expecting to get 300 million? Well, this is how you're gonna get 300 million in profit. You're gonna sell your highest sold game on PlayStation on PC.
On PC, make all that money back.
Both of them, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. You're gonna sell both of them back to back.
What do you think that's gonna sell on PC? You think God of War
it's not
like $1 million?
It's God of War didn't sell $1 million.
What was it? Horizon sold?
Horizon sold $1 million. God of War sold. I can't remember what it was, but God of War and Days Gone didn't sell $1 million. But those games, Days Gone wasn't a very popular game to begin with. God of War was already, God of War was already 4 years old. So if you're a PC gamer and you were really, really hyped for God of War, you probably just went and bought yourself a PlayStation and went and played it. Now,
true.
It's gonna be a bit different with Spider-Man because it's Spider-Man. Like it's Spider-Man. He's like the most popular superhero in the world. So I think you're gonna get a lot more people getting it than I definitely think it will be the highest sold PlayStation game on PC by far. I'm thinking, but it's not going to hit the kind of numbers it hit on PlayStation when it was brand new. I'm thinking like 3-4 million. That's what I think. That's what I think. Each. So Spider-Man and Miles Morales would do 3 to 4 million each. I think.
When do you think we're gonna get the announcement for Miles coming?
Oh, they already said it because in their tweet. In their tweet earlier, they said the Spider-Man series is coming to PC. They only just showed the trailer for.
Oh, I didn't see the tweet. So the tweet actually basically says series. Okay, so that means Miles Morales. Because I was wondering why they didn't just package Miles Morales with that.
Yeah. It's Miles Morales is coming out. They don't have the exact date, but they said the fall of this year. So they gave us a date for Spider-Man, which is August, which is still technically that's summer. That's late summer. And then fall. So literally, like they're back to back. Now there's going to be a later showcase, Sony showcase, as they do every year. They're probably going to do a state of play or something that's solely about God of War Ragnarok.
This is your hope right here. This is your last.
This is not my hope. This is not my hope. This is what's going to happen. Okay.
This is your last chance. So Slow-Mo, if this doesn't get announced at this state of play,
can I finish what I'm saying? Because you out here thinking you got any shot of being right. You're not right.
Okay.
They're gonna do it. They're gonna do another state of play. They're gonna do another state of play in July for God of War. It's gonna come out in like September, I think. I think they're gonna do their show. Wasn't last year's showcase in like August or September?
It was at the end of August.
Okay, I think they're gonna do another showcase somewhere around that time. They're gonna show us some brand new games, and then but for PC, they're gonna announce, because we already know it's coming, Returnal to PC, because there's the store pages in Steam. Mm-hmm. I also think that we're gonna get Factions 2.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a free-to-play game, completely separate, and I think it's going to be launched on PC and PlayStation, which is the reason why I got delayed, I think, so that they could get the game ready on PC, and because Naughty Dog is making it, they need to get familiar with, kind of doing that. So that's why I think it's going to happen there. And Demon Souls.
Demon Souls coming this year.
Yeah, Demon Souls is a part of the Nvidia leak, and Demon Soul. And remember, they had that trailer, and it was like coming to the PS5 and PC. Everybody was like, "It's launching on PC at the same time," and then they walked that back and said that was an error. The error was telling us, not that it was wrong. They just didn't want to tell us at that time because they wanted to maximize sales on PS5. So I think what we're going to get is we're going to get all of that. I don't know if Demon Souls is coming out this year. That might be early next year, the way God of War ended up coming out in January of this year. But I think that's everything that we're going to get on PC for the foreseeable future. And then we're going to start getting more and more of these games that are like PS5 only kind of games, stuff like that, or over on PC as well. What do you think?
No, I think you're absolutely spot on, except for the God of War thing. But in general, the whole slate's coming, slow-mo. Whole slate. Everything's coming. Whole slate. Hey, man, people was like, well, he didn't mean like this. I was like, no, man, that man said whole slate. You can't misconstrue the word whole slate when it comes to games coming to other platforms. But like I said, the only thing I just disagree with God of War this year, but then again, I would be pleasantly happy if it does come. But I do think that's going to be a really stacked back end of the year for them. Even though a lot of those games are coming to PC, that's a huge revenue bump that they're going to get from games like from all of those games. You know, even if Spider-Man does sell 2 to 3, 4 million copies, you know, that's a plus on top of all the other games like Returnal that they're going to release and stuff on PC and stuff too. You know, they could kind of subsidize all of the money that they would probably be losing in especially if the Activision deal goes through before then, the money that they'll be losing when it comes to, like, you know, the exclusive rights to Call of Duty and stuff like that. I mean, they'll still have the rights because I think they have that throughout this year and probably next year too, but they're trying to find a way to get as much of this money cooking for the holidays as they can, because they know they can't depend on all that money that they're making from the third party side, because Xbox is swooping up a lot of those publishers and developers and stuff. It is just paving the way for them to put more money towards their live games as a service and not completely transform their way of doing business, but at least enhance it so they can put more money into the things that's going to benefit them more long term. And putting their games on PC on a faster and more immediate basis is going to be the key to doing that. And I already said that the 4 years for games going to PC is over, but I think I'm a little shocked that they're going as fast as they are at this point now, because
I said this was going to happen. I told you.
You did. No, you did say it was going to happen, and I didn't disagree with you. I was just saying, like, man, are they really going to do it within 2 years? But it looks like they're going to start doing this within a year, like a year tops. You're going to start seeing these games hit PC. And honestly, at this point, with the direction that they're going in, I can see it being underneath a year, within 6 months, depending on how all these other games are doing, because I think they made a really, really good point. Game Knowledge, he made a good point yesterday on the stream. He said PC gamers know that these games, now that they know these games are coming to PC, why would you spend money on a PS5 or a PS4 if you know it's coming to your platform at some point? And then on top of that, why would you pay top dollar for a game that is 2 to 3 years old? I mean, yes, they're making iterations and stuff to the games to make them a little bit better on the new platform and stuff like that when they do come to PC, but it's still an older game. So do you want to spend $40, $50 or $50, $60 on an older game versus, you know, stuff like that? So I do think that that's just going to enhance them and getting those games out a little bit faster, because it may, like, if God of War sells, like, let's say you say Spider-Man sells 2 to 3 million, 4 million across both games. If they release that game on both systems simultaneously, like they did with PS4, how many more sales would they have sold of that game on PC on day one? They probably would have doubled, triple, quadrupled that number. I could have easily seen them, instead of selling 20 million on just PlayStation, they could have probably sold 30 or 40 million across 2 platforms. And I think it just takes one game for them to see that happen with, and then you're going to instantly see them start adopting that model. But they just got to find a game that's going to work with to do that first with.
Yeah, I think they know, they have the numbers on how many PC gamers have owned PlayStation 4s and how many of them dabble into console games. When you have a supply issue, it may behoove you to be a bit quicker in moving your games over to a platform where people, who cannot get to your game, to get to your hardware, might still be able to get to your actual game. Shout out to Rob the Don 202 for the $5 super chat. Says, "What's up, guys? Sorry I forgot the show was on." No problem, sir. And he said, "I had to come to work early, but it was a great stay of play. Going to catch the replay." Awesome. Hope you have a good work day, man. I hate working the night shift. The night shift is rough.
Just be happy all those spaces you don't got to listen to anymore.
Yeah.
Stay away from those spaces that were on Twitter earlier today. You'll be fine.
What was I about to say? I think that they will. The process of getting games onto PC will speed up even further once they get their launcher out. Once they get their PlayStation PC launcher out, they're no longer giving 30% of revenue to Steam or Epic, and they're taking home the lion's share of all that money. And now they could actually, start offering the PC gamers like a lot of those the services that they are, starting to become more important. PS Plus Extra, Premium, all that stuff like that, and then you could start to try to get those games onto the PC platform as well. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm with you on that.
But I think that's all the topics we got for tonight. Ramone's really don't like us talking about PC. I thought Ramon wanted the PC. It's crazy. He's a little sore, having knowing that all the games are heading over to the PC. I'm gonna help him build his rig though. We gonna be all right.
Don't fight him, Ramon. It's gonna be all right.
You just gotta let it go, man. You just gotta let it go.
One less system you gotta have underneath your TV if it happens.
Mm-hmm. But Forte, okay, well, next week I am on vacation, but I will be bringing a laptop with me and a little portable mic, and I will be ready for DPS 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Forte's channel. So come check us out there. Next week will be our podcast right before the Xbox showcase, and we're gonna definitely get into what we think is going to happen, our predictions, our wild predictions, our safe stuff, whatever you want. Like, of course, I'm gonna be hitting you all with nothing but the truth. What's going to happen, of course. But they'll definitely come through. And Forte, let everyone know what you got planned for the next week or so.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Shout out to you. Great show, great host as always. Really appreciate the knowledge and stuff that you bring to the community. Shout out to you being messy on Twitter and everything as always. But but for myself, Gaming Forte everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, and PlayStation. DPS, like you said, next week on my channel. Put out a video talking about how I might lose this bet to slow-mo due to the fact that God of War has the 2018 version coming to PlayStation Plus members for the month of June. Normally when stuff like that happens, they're greasing up the wheels and getting people, into the actual ecosystem to get them ready for the next game that's coming out. So not looking good for your boy Forte. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts on that, check the video out on my channel, and working on some other stuff. And other than that, man, you guys have a great week. We really appreciate it, and enjoy the games you're playing.
Yeah, and for me, I'm still working on my game engines video. Just trying to make sure that I've got all the T's crossed, all the I's dotted as far as accurate information goes. But look out for that soon. And in light of some of the things that have been going on in the gaming community and social media, let me just say something real quick, okay? If you haven't met these people face to face, you just like really met the people. You don't even know these people's first names. You don't have their phone numbers. You don't know what they're really like. Maybe they're not your friends, okay? Like I want people to make better decisions in the future. And I know some people out here are a little young, and maybe they're a little lonely, and maybe they don't really have a lot of friends in their personal life, and as they say, the IRL. But I think that being a bit more cautious in who you choose to confide in, not putting all your personal business on social media and Twitter Spaces is probably the better idea.
Fact.
And how can I say this as well? Because I
pretty much like you just said it.
No, there's something else I want to say, but I'm not trying to be offensive in saying it. We all need to grow as people, right? And I feel like as a man, I feel like I've grown in the past, 4 years that I've been in this community as well. Yeah. I've met people like Forte, the Ashen Luca, Taz, Ramon in the chat, and Deli, and I've learned a lot from them, and I hope they've learned a lot from me as well. But like it those kind of friendships aren't built overnight. It's not like it's not instant coffee, okay? it's slow brewed, it takes time. It takes time to build that stuff up. But even if you don't build that stuff up, are you really in a place where you can really be a good friend for someone? And for some of these people, I don't know what y'all out here looking for. Are you really in a place for a relationship? Like, is that what you go to a gaming community for? Like, especially if you yourself are you got some issues to work through. You might need some therapy. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not being disrespectful. We all need therapy here and there. But like, if you can't answer in the affirmative at any of those questions, then you don't need to be around people who are going to take advantage of you, and people who are basically just really looking out for themselves, especially if you're a woman, because there are dudes out here who really don't have your best interests at heart. So I'm off my soapbox.
I agree. I just think that if you sit back and you think about just the community in general, I didn't know you for it feels like forever, but I know you for the better part of almost 5 years now, and that didn't happen overnight. The overall friendship we built was something that was built over time. I was friends with Luca, then everybody else became more of a conversation piece, and then it took us being on BRAP together and having a bond over there to the point that we're here doing this show together, and we've been doing this 1.5 years, and we were on BRAP a year before we even did this. So that's 2.5 years of us just filling each other out to get to where we are. And I consider this like my brother at this point, So some of these people that just show up in the community and you think that they, are good for you, or you just want to have somebody to talk to. There's always people that you could talk to in the community, but don't put yourself in a situation where you feel like you are indebted to somebody else due to the situation that you're in. You mean more to yourself than anybody else means to you at that point when it comes to this community. So take care of yourselves and just know that there's people here that's willing to talk to you and be a confident to you when it comes to you having had conversations and talk. But don't put all your eggs in the basket of Twitter and in this community and stuff until you actually know what you're getting out of it. Because right now it just seems like a lot of people are putting a lot of stuff in, but they're not getting anything really out of it. And that's not a good precedent to live by. It's not a good precedent to set when it comes to like your friendships with people in this community.
Yeah, a Twitter space is not a place to get advice
No.
on your personal issues. It's not a place for therapy. That's not what a Twitter space is designed for. And there are things that you are saying that other people don't really need to hear at that time. Just keep it a buck. I think there are people who for some reason are coming into this gaming community looking for something that they can only satisfy within themselves. There is no one else that can help you with that except you. And
Right.
and you're barking up the wrong tree when you're going into a gaming community that's full of other people who are just as broken as you are or worse. And that's just not what I think. A lot of people end up getting themselves hurt even worse than they were before they came in, based off of not understanding that. So look, I only say that because I hope that someone else can hear that and not do some of the things that I've seen happening in this gaming industry, in this gaming community over the past week. It's been, look, it's just been sad. I just feel sad for a lot of people because there are a lot of people who seem really lost in what they're looking for. So like hopefully that changes for people in the future. And I'm gonna get off my soapbox. You guys enjoy your games. Have a great night and great weekend. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace. I don't think you're on yourself.
Eyes up, Guardian.
Wipe yourself off, man. You did.
Eyes up, Guardian.